Welcome back to Vital Signs. I am Jen Godet here with you, and we are going to shift gears just a little bit. I do want to give you a reminder that everything on today's show is for educational purposes only. Please do not change anything about your healthcare routines without checking with your healthcare practitioners first. But without further ado, I'm excited to introduce to you our next guest, Lynann Weaver. She is a high performance specialist, and today we are going to be all about boosting energy. So whether you're feeling a little tired, you've been running around after the kids, or you just need a little bit of extra energy in your life, you're going to want to buckle up for this ride because she is a beacon of energy. Welcome to this show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am super excited about this topic.
Me too.
Okay, so tell me all the things. What does it mean to boost our energy?
So energy is the foundational component of everything that we do. It helps us be more effective in our work, in our relationships, in our interactions. And one of my favorite quotes is that when our energy drops, everything else drops. So our thoughts start to drop. When our thoughts drop, our actions drop. Actions drive our outcomes. And so being able to truly master our energy from a place of whatever else is going on in the world. We know it's the holidays right now. People are oftentimes a little under extra stress. I work in healthcare primarily, and this is the time of year where everybody's getting surgeries. Cold and flu season is happening, and so everybody is just overly stressed, exerted, and exhausted. And you don't have to be like that. No matter how little sleep you got last night, I definitely did not sleep anywhere close to what anybody recommends or what I typically get. And there's still a way to be able to boost back up. And so that's something that is incredibly impactful for people to be able to learn and master and implement in their everyday life so that they can truly be a master of high performance and have the outcomes at work, home, and life that they're really wanting.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to learn these secret tips because I am definitely running on fumes at the end of the year after pushing so hard. So give me the goods. Like, what are some of the easy things that we can do today, now, that can boost our energy?
Yeah. Several of my favorite activities include things like breathwork and exercise snacks. Our bodies run on an ultradian rhythm cycle where it's 90 to 120 minutes of where our brains are really energized, we're hyper-focused and alert, and then we have those cycles of where we're actually not as alert because our brain is needing to recoup some of that energy. And so taking breaks, the neuroscience behind taking breaks has actually shown that people who regularly engage in micro breaks, so breaks under 10 minutes throughout the day, perform much better than those who don't. And what it does is it gives our brain that little bit of extra time to regenerate and recoup some of that energy so that we can place it where it's going to be most effective. And so something that I always recommend to all of our clients and just to anybody in general is if you are in a position of where it's possible to set your timer for 50 minutes, 50, and at the end of that timer, when that goes off, whatever you are doing, stop, get up, stretch, move around, drink some water because dehydration is also a contributing factor to decreased energy. And then doing something to boost yourself back up. So either I love doing I call them exercise snacks. And so 30 seconds to a minute of higher intensity exercise, or even just go run the stairs once or twice. Spending that time to really decrease our cortisol production and be able to bring our brain back into that place of focus so that we can be hyper alert and aware of what we're needing to execute on during that next work block.
Okay, so let's just take a moment here and recap. What we want to do is set our timers for 50 minutes. At the end, when that goes off, it's time for a break. No matter what we're doing, we're going to stop, pause, do something a little bit different. We're going to rehydrate ourselves. We're maybe going to go for a little movement snack. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little bit curious about these movement snacks. So maybe we can convince you just to give us a little bit more detail on what those might look like.
Yeah, so some of my favorite are air squats, which Are you wanting a demonstration, or can I just explain
You
them?
can just explain them. That's fine.
So doing 10 to 20 air squats can significantly boost our energy, or it's doing something like jumping jacks, which really, get the blood moving, get the lymph moving, helps excrete toxins. It hyperoxygenates our brain because we're starting to breathe more heavily, and can really help. I really encourage you, take just a few minutes. If you're watching right now, pause for a second and just go and do 10 air squats and see how much of a difference that makes. But when we're doing that consistently, what happens is our body actually doesn't have to hold on to all of the stress and the stress hormones that end up getting released when we're in that state of, how many of us are looking over a cell phone or hunched over a computer, which contracts our lung capacity, decreases our ability to oxygenate the brain, and it makes it much harder for us to really stay focused and alert. And so when we're up and moving, or doing something, even just pausing for a moment, looking up, where our gaze goes, our body naturally follows. And so when we look up versus that hunched over position, we're elevating and opening up the chest cavity. We're allowing additional oxygen to come in, and our bodies are able to better adjust to the stressors that we're having.
I don't know about you. Did you try your air squats? Because I wasn't over here trying air squats, but I'm all for it if you did it. Talk to me a little bit about, we talked about air squats. We talked about jumping jacks. What about people who can't necessarily do a full squat or can't do a jumping jack? Are there some modifications that they could still get that calf pump muscle
absolutely.
going?
Yeah. So one of the primary benefits of that shorter bursts of movement is you're really getting the lymph flowing. So something else that we can do is called qigong, and I'm going to have to set my microphone down to do this, but it's basically a technique of cupping where you're actually, you can do this seated as well. Easier to stand up, but you're just cupping your hands and moving the lymph up your legs, and then your other leg. And then, as well as you're wanting to start some of that movement through your back and up your arms.
Ooh, I'm going to do this one with you. Especially when it gets to here.
Yes. So when you're doing that, you're also stimulating your nerve cells. And it just creates this automatic response in the body to say, hey, I need to be more focused. I need to be on point. And this is something that anybody can do regardless of physical limitations for the most part.
So basically what I'm hearing is get up, move your body, do some movement, get your blood flowing. But if you're a little bit more limited, or even if you can't get your blood flowing, do a little bit of cupping and get that blood and circulation moving so that you can kind of get that flow. I already feel energized.
Right?
You feel energized?
I do.
Did you try this at home? Do you feel energized? That was super simple. So just to kind of recap, the cupping, all you have to do is cup your hands and move up and down your body. And what that'll do is it stimulates the blood flow, the circulation. It feels good. It helps us relax our muscles. That's a win-win-win situation.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm feeling a little bit more energized, but yet there's more.
There is always more.
Give us the goods.
Some of my other favorite activities to boost energy include different forms of breath work. And so when we are looking at being hyper productive, there is the need to be able to bring extra oxygen into our brain. And so sometimes when we're in, especially this time of year where everybody is chronically stressed, not everybody, a lot of people may be chronically stressed or feeling additional levels of stress than normal. Depending on the activities that you're doing, the stress response is there for a reason. It's not that it's all bad. When we were created biologically to be able to have that stress response to keep us safe from something. Well, now because we're not being chased by saber-toothed tigers or many of us having very physical threats, our bodies are kind of looking for something to respond to still keep us safe. And the way that we engage in today's society is so many of us take things that are said or meetings that we're having, engagements that we have with other people, and we're interpreting those conversations in a way that can actually induce additional stress. And by starting to change our relationship with self, so how do I see myself, my capabilities, how do I perceive the world and those around me, and to make sure that we're focused on identifying, seeing ourselves and loving ourselves in a way that somebody else's words may not impact us as detrimentally. That is honestly one of the best ways for a lot of people to be able to start to manage their stress level, because so much of our stress now is self-induced. The stress response has typically about a 90-second window of, if there is an external stressor that happens, we get that boost of adrenaline, we get the boost of cortisol, and then if it's not recycled or reinitiated, which we do through thought by replaying and ruminating and keeping that thought for just to the forefront of the thought process, we're actually re-triggering that cycle. And so there was a book written a few years ago, and I'm blanking on the author's name, neuroscientist who came up with something called the 90-second rule. And it kind of explains it as, if you think of standing over a pond and somebody comes and, startles you and you throw a rock into the pond, well, obviously that's going to create a ripple effect. And those ripples eventually, get softer and smoother, and then the lake would calm. Well, what we do when we're constantly thinking about the things that cause us stress is it's like throwing rocks continuously into the water.
Oh my goodness, and those ripples just create waves, and that's a tsunami of stress.
Yes.
Okay, well, on that note, with this tsunami of stress, we are going to be right back after these messages and teach you how to get rid of that tsunami of stress. Stick around.